If you're an artist, you may have heard the term negative space. What is negative space? Let's try and demonstrate it with an artwork. What do your eyes focus to? The lilacs. It has detail, and it looks more interesting than the more fluid, blurry background on the left. Now these lilacs are the positive space, the main subject, the detailed part. It's the most interesting part of the artwork. The background is the negative space. It's the space that's meant to look uninteresting, empty, or a lot less detailed so that your eyes will focus first on the main subject. So the lilacs are the main subject, while the background is the negative space. Let's try another example. The positive space is the olive oil bottle. It's more detailed and a lot more interesting than the sky blue background, which is the negative space. Since the background doesn't have any interesting features, your eyes will generally look at the bottle, which is more interesting. But how does this relate to negative space art? Well, negative space art is an art style where you use the negative and positive space to create an interesting and unique visual artwork with meaning. And here are some 2 examples, artworks made by Tang Yao Ho. Definitely an amazing artist, especially involving negative space art. The negative space is the black color split in half by the blue sky, the positive space. And as you can see, on the border of the black and sky blue colors, you can see some buildings, skyscrapers. You can also see that the blue sky on the lower half of the artwork turns into this river. And there's a boat. Such genius. Another example. The negative space is the red color, while the positive space is the black color, which is shaped like an alligator or a crocodile. I don't know what's the difference. The jagged lines emphasizes this more. There's also a boat on the jagged lines, which looks like waves. And this artwork probably represents the danger of being on water. Maybe you might be at a risk of an alligator attack. As you can see with these 2 examples, the positive space and the negative space are used very intricately to create an appealing visual. For the first artwork, the positive space splits the artwork on the center, and on the lower part, you can see that it transforms into a river. In the second artwork, there are these wave formations using the same color as the negative space and made in such a way that it makes this black shape look like an alligator. There are a lot more of these negative space artworks, and it's up for you to search, understand, and be marveled at these unique works. After the video, this art style is not really known, and I want to put it into a spotlight. And because I want to see if I could be capable of making, in my opinion, a certified negative space art. Let's get the ball rolling. Have you ever been trapped in a sinkhole? Well, if not, good for you. Because that's exactly what I'm going to try and do with this artwork. Starting with a circle, then adding some little modifications to make it look a lot more like a sinkhole. In this perspective, we are basically looking up the sinkhole and into the sky. The sky is here, don't worry about it too much. Oh shoot. There we go. And to make this a lot more interesting, let's add an airplane. But, it still doesn't look interesting enough. Well then, have you ever heard of contrails? I think you know where this is going. Boom. Not gonna lie, this actually looks really sick. And because I still feel like the artwork isn't interesting enough, I added some very needed dead trees. I guess that's enough trees. And this, I decided to add some light on this side as the light of the sun directly hits it. I mean, there's not that much to do, So as the last thing, I added these spots. I think they look good. And some slits on the sunlit side. I mean, I would just end it right here since it's already done. There isn't really anything else to add. So I guess this is finished. As you can see here, the negative space is the black foreground, which has an engraving of a pit cave. And the positive space is the sky with the clouds and the airplane. And this artwork looks like someone looking up the pit and into the sky. Because why not? Imagine being in a hole like this, looking up, and seeing the sky and an airplane passing by. I mean, you would probably try and find a way to escape that hole. I don't think you would. Have you ever been into a cave? Well, I think only once. And it was a pretty cool experience. Yes, this artwork is involving a cave. Now normally caves are shaped sort of like an upside down U, V, W, X, Y, Z. But what if we have a cave shaped like a leaf? That's right. Ta-da! It looks too smooth though. The entrances of caves aren't that smooth. We need to make sure that the cave looks like a leaf, but we need to add that rough, rocky feel. There we go. There's these stalactites and stalagmites because I think the cave looks a lot more interesting because of them. I mean, that's the negative space done. So, tree, shrubs, landmass. No thank you. Let's deal with the tree first. Then we add some foliage on the bottom of the cave. Then the landmass and the sky. Now, yes, this looks really unusual. A saturated green landmass in a orange, red, violet sky. Very unnatural. I mean, I was using this reference as the main inspiration, but I mean, it doesn't look bad. Maybe. And then I added some slight details to not make it look too boring. I did this for my YouTube thumbnail. Our leaf cave is done. Ah, perfect. As you can see here, the negative space is the black foreground, which has an engraving of a leaf, and the positive space are the elements inside the leaf, like the shrubs, plant, sky, and tree, which I made in such a way that makes the branches and the trunk look like the veins of the leaf. Overall, a certified negative space art. Now, you may see a recurring theme. The negative space is black. Why black? Why not other colors like orange or yellow? And that's because small steps. Since this is an art style that I've just done 10 artworks on, and most of them were dots, I didn't really want to push myself too much, like make something that's akin to these professionals' work. I know I'm not an expert at this, and so I'm gonna start simple. Otherwise, I might overwhelm myself because I think it's too hard of a task, and that happened to me a bunch of times. For these artworks, I've definitely achieved in making them actually fit with the art style. We have the negative space and the positive space working together to form an interesting visual. So, what have we learned today? Well, negative space is the empty, uninteresting space that separates the positive space, the focus point of your artwork. The positive space is generally more familiar for your eyes, and so you get attracted to it. And negative space art is where you use the negative and positive space to make some interesting visuals. If used correctly and creatively, it can make some very interesting artworks that can definitely attract your attention. I hope you try this out, or don't, it's your choice. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Go and do what you're meant to be doing.